Okay, so here again we are starting with our second chapter. We already discussed many things now. Here for the next topic, we'll discuss here atmospheric pressure, gauge pressure, and absolute pressure. Okay, so here first, in first case, if we consider here pressure due to imaginary cylinder inside the fluid. So we will consider imaginary cylinder which will be inside the fluid completely. So consider a tank, okay, filled with water, and consider imaginary cylinder which is fully inside the water. For this imaginary cylinder, we consider here this is having area of cross section as A. So for here, for the top face we consider A1, and for the bottom face we consider A2. Similarly here we will consider this imaginary cylinder has a height h, that is height from the reference point for the top one is x1 and height for the bottom it is x2. So difference x1 minus x2 is h. Okay, so we will consider height as x1 minus x2. Now here if you talk about the forces acting on this imaginary cylinder, so the force F1 is acting on the imaginary cylinder in downward direction. This force is due to the liquid above the imaginary cylinder. Similarly here F2 force is acting in upward direction at the bottom of imaginary cylinder, and this force is due to the liquid or water below the imaginary cylinder. Okay. Similarly here this imaginary cylinder, suppose we consider, is having weight mg. Okay, m is the mass, g is the gravitational acceleration. So if you consider imaginary cylinder is in static equilibrium, you will balance the forces. So downward force you will balance by upward force. So upward force here is F2, that is up thrust F2 equal to downward forces. There are two forces F1 and mg, so you will add both the forces F1 plus mg. Now as we already know, pressure is force upon area, so force will be pressure into area. So here F1 will be equal to P1A. P1 is the pressure at the top of the imaginary cylinder. P2 is the pressure at the bottom of the imaginary cylinder. So you will write here for F2 we can write it as P2A. Okay. So if you are putting here your value, similarly for the mass you can write mass equal to density into volume. Okay, as we already know, density equal to mass upon volume, therefore mass will be equal to density into volume. And here density of liquid, suppose we consider rho, so density, now here volume is actually volume of cylinder. As this cylinder is having height h and cross sectional area A, volume will be A into h. Okay, so therefore mass will be density into volume rho AH, and h is nothing but difference between x1 and x2. So similarly if you put here in this equation F2, you will write it as P2A, so I am writing it as P2A. Now here F1 we can write it as P1A plus mg, m we are writing rho AH, h you can write as x1 minus x2, or you can write it as h, g as it is here. Okay, so gravitational acceleration we are writing as it is. So we are getting our expression. A you can cancel, you will take common from right hand side and you will cancel by A from left hand side. So our final equation will be P2 equal to P1 plus rho Hg, or instead of h you can write x1 minus x2. So this is the final expression when we consider here imaginary cylinder fully inside the fluid. Okay. Now here in second case, suppose you want to determine pressure at the depth h below the surface of liquid. Okay. For that we can consider again an imaginary cylinder at whose top is at the surface of liquid, whose bottom is at depth h below the surface of liquid. Similarly, your reference point, that is height x1 and x2. Okay. Again we will consider pressure P1 here at the top, P2 here at the bottom. Okay. Now here height of imaginary cylinder is h. So you can again apply your equation. So P1 here is actually atmospheric pressure. P1 at the top of the imaginary cylinder, the pressure which is acting is nothing but atmospheric pressure. So you can write P1 equal to P0, which is atmospheric pressure. Similarly, P2, that is pressure at the bottom of the imaginary cylinder, that pressure is actually total pressure or absolute pressure. Here again x1 minus x2 we will consider h. So from our this final expression P2 equal to P1 plus rho x1 minus x2 into g, we will replace the notation here. So P1 we can replace by P0 and P2 we can replace by P. So our equation will become P equal to P0 plus rho. This difference is nothing but h. So you can write it as hg here. So this P is total pressure, which is also known as absolute pressure. So this pressure is actually sum of atmospheric pressure P0 and h rho g, that is known as gauge pressure. So it is sum of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure. So total pressure or absolute pressure is the sum of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure. Okay. So you can determine pressure at depth h below the surface of liquid. Now in third case, suppose you want to determine pressure at distance d from the surface of liquid. So you will again consider an imaginary cylinder whose bottom is at the surface of liquid and whose top is at the distance d from the surface of liquid, where you want to determine the pressure. Again height of imaginary cylinder here will be d actually. x1 minus x2 you can write it as d here. Okay. Now here P1 here will be the pressure, which we can take it as our resultant pressure. So you can here write it as P. P2 is nothing but actually our atmospheric pressure. So P2 here is equal to P0. Now here again x1 will be equal to d. Okay. And x2 will be actually 0 because we are taking from reference point, height of the reference point. So x2 will be 0. Rho density here will be actually density of air because this imaginary cylinder lies in the air. So again our expression we are applying here, P2 equal to P1 plus rho x1 minus x2 g, or you will write h. So here h is nothing but d. So P2 is here equal to P0. So we are writing here P0 equal to P1 is P. So we are writing P plus rho as it is rho of air, g as it is x1 minus x2 will be d here. So our expression here will become P equal to P0 minus d rho g. This P0 is atmospheric pressure here, P1 is total pressure or absolute pressure, and this pressure is pressure gauge. Okay, gauge pressure. So these three cases we discussed here, that is position of imaginary cylinder we changes here, and we are writing the expression for the height of liquid expression for the pressure at certain particular point. Okay, so you got it right. Okay, now here next same thing, if we consider atmospheric pressure is nothing but pressure of atmosphere denoted by P0. Gauge pressure is nothing but actually the difference between absolute pressure and atmospheric pressure. You can see here gauge pressure, this is gauge pressure, this is gauge pressure. So gauge pressure is the difference between P2 minus P1, that is difference between absolute pressure and atmospheric pressure. Okay, same here we are writing the formula. Now here absolute pressure is nothing but sum of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure, right? This one. So if you're taking your values, you can consider like this: absolute pressure is nothing but total pressure, pressure gauge and atmospheric pressure. Sum of both will be absolute pressure, right? Now here next, here you can define the terms like absolute pressure. So pressure which is related to reference pressure is known as absolute pressure. Now here differential pressure, the difference between the two pressures is equal to the differential pressure. Next here is atmospheric pressure. Pressure related to the atmosphere that surrounds the earth is atmospheric pressure. Okay, and this pressure is weather dependent. We already discussed it in our previous lecture, right? Next is gauge pressure. This is the difference between absolute pressure and atmospheric pressure, as we already seen the formula. Okay, now here next is hydrostatic paradox. Okay, now here suppose we consider a different vessel which are interconnected to one another, and if you pour the liquid in that vessel, so what we observe here, if the base of all the, that is the bottom area of the all vessel, if it is equal and the liquid which is poured here poured at the same height in all the vessels, so the pressure exerted at the bottom of the vessel will be equal actually. But by observation we can see, because there is the shape of the vessel is different here, so pressure will be different. So this is known as hydrostatic paradox. Hydro means water, static means at rest, paradox means something taking place surprisingly, because our observation is some other one and our conclusion is actually pressure will be same. So what is hydrostatic paradox? The pressure at a certain horizontal level in the fluid is proportional to the vertical distance from the surface of fluid. That means what? Pressure is directly proportional to height of the liquid column. Okay, now here if we consider three different vessels like ABC of different shape, and these are the containing different volume of liquid but exert the same pressure at the same point, at all the point at the same horizontal level, means what? Here if we pour the liquid at the same height for all the vessels, the pressure exerted will be same for all the vessel, and this is nothing but hydrostatic paradox here. Okay, now here again if you consider, the hydrostatic paradox actually states that the in different shaped containers with the same base area which are filled with the liquid of same height, the applied force by the liquid on the base of each container is exactly same. Okay, so I think you know what is given in hydrostatic paradox. Okay, so if we are filling the water, if we consider that all the vessels are having same base area, okay, and these different shaped containers are filled with the liquid up to a same height, the pressure exerted by the liquid on the base of the container will be same for all the vessels. Okay, now so when a liquid is poured in any of the vessels, the level of the liquid is same in all the different shaped vessels. Okay, now see here how it is same now. Okay, the question arises how the pressure will be same with the different shape. Okay, so if we consider, suppose we consider a vessel A. Okay, that vessel is actually upward slanted. This vessel is upward slanted. Suppose we consider This is filled with the liquid up to a same height of the vessel B and C. So the liquid will exert a force, so that as a result force of reaction, the wall will exert a force of reaction on the liquid, and this force will be actually normal to the wall. So this is the wall, the force will be normal to the walls, and that is N. This N you can resolve in two component, horizontal component and vertical component. So from both sides we are observing, so these horizontal components are opposite, so they will get cancelled. Vertical components are in same direction, so they will get added up. So the weight of the liquid in this container will be acting vertically downward, that is mg. So this vertical component balance the some amount of weight, okay, so that it will exert same pressure at the base of the vessel A, okay, because here this vessel is larger, so it will contain large amount of liquid, but some amount of weight is balanced by vertical component of normal reaction, so that the pressure exerted by the liquid on the base of the vessel will be same. Suppose we consider this vessel which is downward slanted. In that case, normal reaction of the wall on the liquid will be like this, that is normal to the wall, okay. Again you will resolve the component in two components, horizontal component and vertical component. Again horizontal component, they are cancelled by one another. Vertical component are added to the weight of the liquid because they are in downward direction now, so they will increase the weight just like vessel A, and the pressure acting on the base of the vessel B will be same as that of the vessel A. Similarly here for vertical walls, normal reaction is here getting cancelled by one another, so total weight acting, this total weight will be the pressure acting on the base of the vessel C, okay. So likewise, if you are containing the interconnected vessels like ABCD as given in the figure, the force exerted by amount of liquid at the base of the vessel will be same. So how it is same, we just discussed here, that is normal reaction by the wall on the liquid, then component of normal reaction. Here the weight of liquid is larger, but some amount is balanced by the vertical component, so the pressure acting on the base will be same. Now here some amount of liquid is less, it is a small container as compared to A, so there will be a vertically downward component that will be getting added up to the weight, and it will increase the weight up to a like equal to the vessel A, just like vessel A, so that the pressure exerted at the base of the vessel B will be same as that of A, okay. So likewise we will consider here, so you can study here, you can study point wise here using this table. Vessel A, B, C, vertical component of force for vessel A, there is no vertical component of force for this figure, okay. Horizontal component of force, and that will be get cancelled, so it is not balancing the weight. Similarly downward slanted and upward slanted, just we discussed now, okay. So likewise, so this is nothing but hydrostatic paradox. You can also here again, in all the vessels the level of liquid remains same because they exert same pressure on the bottom. This is demonstrated by connecting pressure gauge at the bottom. Like you will measure the pressure at the bottom using pressure gauge. All pressure gauges show same pressure in all vessels. This is because pressure depends on height, not on the mass, volume and shape, etc. Right? And this is the main theme, that is pressure is directly proportional to height. It is independent of mass, volume, shape of the vessel, etc., etc. Right? And this is nothing but actually hydrostatic paradox. Right? So hopefully you will understand. Okay. So if you're having any doubt, you can message me or you can write in comment box. Okay, thank you so much. In next lecture we will discuss Pascal's law and its application. Thank you.